Did you hit a ceiling? You've achieved more than most, but it feels like every time you push for that next level, something snaps you right back. You see, you're not lazy and you are definitely not lacking skills. What's really holding you back isn't the strategy, and you know that. It's the invisible wiring running the show behind the scenes. Hi, my name is Damir, and I work with high performers who are tired of grinding harder, only to repeat the same cycle of effort and burnout. In this demo, I'll show you exactly why you keep hitting that ceiling, what's really holding you there, and how to finally break through without burning out, chasing the new tactics, or mindset fluff. If you know you should be further ahead, but you can't get there, then this is for you. Now, who am I and why you should listen to me?
So I was born in Croatia, but back then it was Yugoslavia and we had communism, and on top of it we had the war, right? War, which made me very confused, right? There was lack of opportunity. In one word, chaos. So I figured I should move to Australia. And Australia was a country of a lot, double O, opportunity. So I, started chasing up, new opportunities, meaning new skills, buying new tools, new strategies. And then I will basically end up skipping, from one to another. And I started to, stacking up all those skills, right? And which was, good. I made decent money, but I never had, you know, great money. I was never that successful. I was like, why? I thought if I have all these skills, everyone will want to work with me and I'll be a very successful guy. And so it turned out not to be true, right? It turned out not to be true because simply there is a lot of advice there that simply does not work. So here is what's actually happening. We are sold the story, hustle harder, right? Go there, hustle harder, and starts by chasing, call it new tactics. And this is a bright, shiny object. Those. And then we put effort in, right? And then we get temporary results like I did because I was going after money. Because I thought money will give me fulfillment because I had none. And then we end up burning out and then we repeat the circle, right? And that has been going on for, decades. And this is what happens to us. You probably chased every funnel, every marketing hack, productivity strategy, and believe if you push a little harder, you'll actually make it. But all that does, it creates this symptom: procrastination, overwhelm, burnout, anxiety, lack of direction, undercharging, right? And then we end up treating symptoms with, you know, courses, apps, mastermind tools. Not that they don't work, but actually we go back to this cycle again, right? So what's really happening? We develop a false identity. We live actually in survival mode. You see, when we want money, we actually don't want money. We want a feeling. We want a feeling of validation, of control, security. We want feelings of safety, right? We want feelings of connection, right? Because when we are not fulfilled, we think money will bring those. And money does bring those, but in 99% of cases, 99 out of 100 people, their highest value is not money. It's actually control or security or validation or safety. So, for example, we chase a new opportunity because we think we're going to make it. and this is gonna give us validation. But brain's old survival, call it pattern, how we are wired, picks the easy route, right? So it's easier for us to post struggles on social media, get sympathy and likes, than to build a successful business and get real results, because that's hard, right? And brain doesn't want hard; it wants easy. It's hardwired to go to pick an easier route to get results, right? And then, again, we are running in circles. So to fix that, right, we got to fix the root, not the symptoms. We got to change the identity of who we believe we are. We're going to talk about this in a second. Not the tool, the tactics, and the skills. So there are three things that need to happen. We need to get clarity of direction. We need to remove the resistance, I'll talk about it in a sec, and get real support. And most people, most solopreneurs, business owners, coaches, are stuck here. So what's really happening? You see, when all these bright shiny objects are happening, this is what happens. When we chase a bright shiny object, right? We chase someone else's dream. Every opportunity feels urgent. We say yes to everything, right? We don't know what we actually want. So we create lack of clarity. Every new opportunity is less and less clarity. And I can tell you, after doing this work for 15 years, I have 7 coaching certifications. I've done 3,000 coaching hours in one-on-one environment. 9 out of 10 people, 9 out of 10 solopreneurs have, call it, a challenge with clarity, misdirection. And when we have misdirection, it's very easy to fall into procrastination, because we are chasing someone else's dream, not ours. But anytime when we procrastinate or burn out, a few other things happen. Like, for example, there is conflicted directions or conflicted values, right? When we chase someone else's dream, we chase two things and we are pulled apart. Brain pulls us in survival mode, but we want to be successful, right? And then what that creates, it creates inaction. In inaction, they done this test of chronically depressed people, and they found that the root cause of their depression was inaction. And it happens all the time when we have two equally interesting or exciting ideas, which are obviously not ours. Or we simply say, hey, I want more time in my business, I need to create systems. But to create systems, we need time. So we don't create systems, we don't create leverage. And then we, become hard on us. And that's an invisible block, right? So it all starts with lack of clarity. And then what happens is, when we, let's say, procrastinate and we make a mistake, then we start carrying shame or guilt or, fear of failure because of past mistakes, right? And then we get stuck in fear and anxiety. We call these trapped emotions. And I can tell you right now that every single person I worked with in my life had some form, including me, I had all of these challenges, has some form of guilt or shame or fear or anxiety. And all that was caused, obviously, by lack of clarity, conflicting directions. We make a mistake, we basically become very hard on ourselves, and then cycle repeats. And all that, what it creates limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are things like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, others are better than me. It's hard. And of course it's hard, if you look at here, big picture, because we are chasing bright shiny objects, we are chasing someone else's dream. So here's how it works in real life. We have no clarity, we have no filter for opportunities. No filter, we say yes to everything. We say yes to everything, we get into overwhelm and burnout. From overwhelm and burnout, we go to procrastination. Then we develop shame and guilt. Then we chase more tactics. And then with more tactics, less clarity. It's a vicious circle. All it does, it creates self-sabotage. And the problem with self-sabotage is that it creates here low self-worth. I know this because I had a lot of it. And then all that low self-worth, which is invisible, creates all the self-sabotage, underpins everything. So what we create the identity problem. We do not see ourselves as being successful. We see ourselves as not worthy. Now, obviously, this is stronger with some people, less stronger with others. It's not a rule for everyone, but for the most, it is. Because you see, the problem is not your business. It's your brain's survival programming. What we do, what we get sold is this. Chase bright shiny object, new tactic, new AI tool, new automation stuff, new whatnot. This will sort it all out. Don't worry, you'll make the money. But the problem is decisions are made here in unconscious mind, so call it 95% of decisions are made based on our beliefs, emotions, values, survival programming. Because someone might say, hey, making money is easy, but survival programming might say, no, it's hard. Because that's a belief, right? It's hard. I know I tried, I failed, so it's hard. So it's that all this conflict happens inside over years and years and years of obviously programming. So how do we get out that? So how do we shift the identity? It's very simple. It's a 3-step process. So in step number 1, we got to get clarity, right? We got to find your own direction, right? And it's not one thing, it's 4 things. Things that are interesting to you, exciting to you, important to you, and fulfilling to you. Then you get your true north, you unlock literally the limited amounts of energy and flow. Because when you do those things, you see, fulfilling things are those things, those emotional payoffs I said before, like connection, validation, attention, feelings of authority, right? Feelings of safety, time, or freedom. Because when we are fulfilled, when we chase something, that's our own thing, that's your own dream, then you get automatically fulfilled. But if we are not, then we are chasing money because we think money will bring us this, meaning we are chasing bright shiny object. So it's really important to get clarity on what's your vision, what's your purpose, what are you chasing. Then a lot of these symptoms like procrastination or burnout and things like that, or fears, they get melted. They simply do not exist there because we are on the right path. And then in step 1, okay, we know where we are going. Now we got to remove the past resistance. We got to clear the roadblocks, right? We need to release the handbrake. So we got to release the guilt and the shames and fears from past mistakes. We got to collapse the stories that keep us small. These are limiting beliefs usually caused by trauma. And then we got to realign the hidden drivers of our self-sabotage. This is old wiring, old survival wiring to success wiring. So emotional payoffs, right? So as validation, as mentioned before, we can post our struggle and get the like and the sympathy, or we can build a business. The feeling is the same, and our brain is not, our brain is simply addicted to that feeling, and it's not loyal to us. It is loyal to a feeling, doesn't care how we get it. And that's the difference between self-sabotage and growth. So okay, that's step number 2. So we know where we are going. We don't have any blocks. And then as solopreneurs and coaches, consultants, and small business owners, we need to create systems and leverage. And now, here is how it works. When we know our true path, we know our, call it ideal client, who we want to work with. We don't have any blocks, so we plug in the ideal client into leverage and system. And we can use simply AI tools to extract, ideal client, and then make an offer, also done with AI tools, really quick, right? So now we know who are we working with, we know what we are selling, we basically have leverage, and we use those tools to be, obviously, right? We go from grind to flow. So really quickly, we have done this. You see, to find your purpose, it's only 10 questions, takes 10 to 15 minutes, right? To remove the resistance, to dissolve shame and guilt, there is a process I use, 30 minutes. To past trauma, 40 minutes. Identifying your emotional payoffs, 10 minutes. Conflicting values, not even 10 minutes. So we solve the problems, right, in minutes. because with AI tools now we can extract our clients, we can write copy, we can get offers out literally in again 5-10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, right? So we create that really quick, and this is what I call freedom code. Because most advice out there is focusing, yes, here is your offer, here is your business tools, and that's in a way kind of became obsolete with AI. Everyone has access to it. Not every tool is good, but there is a lot out there. But most people, they do not know about emotional payoffs. They do not do the proper alignment. And if you carry any kind of baggage from the past, it will always self-sabotage no matter business what business tool you use. You see here, this is just a little preview of my investment of $100,000 in all kinds of tools and masterminds and 10K boot camps and whatnot. I've done all this and none of this worked, simply because why? Because I was carrying a lot of resistance with me, and I was definitely chasing someone else's dreams. So what happens when you plug this system? Well, you go from overwhelm to clarity, you go from procrastination to productivity, you go from burnout to energy, you go from scattered mind to focused mind, you go from imposter syndrome to confidence, you go from self-doubt to full potential, you go from undercharging to be paid your worth, you go from micromanaging to full control, you go from anxiety to relaxation, you go from self-sabotage to building your own kingdom, you go from chasing tactics to building symptoms, you go from working in your business to working on your life, because business becomes a vehicle, not a prison. So for example, we have here Mr. Oz. He was working 18-hour days, being paid $1,500 a day. He said, I have to do it on my own. Nobody can do it better than me. He was obviously very stressed, bad health. And I just told him, man, you need to duplicate yourself. And then he went from working for himself to a company of 18 people, plays paddle in the evenings, works 7-8 hours a day. And his value, even though he's a millionaire, he actually wants safety. His driver is not money, it's safety, but he's still a millionaire. Simon lost $3.5 million, developed fear of failure for 5 years being stuck. And then we realized it wasn't fear of failure that was holding him back, it was guilt from 45 years ago. We released that, and then he went to $100,000 months and hired a team who does 50 hours of his work per month. So means that he has more time with his family. That's his real driver, even though he's also a millionaire. So you see, money flows when we are in the flow, right? So Matisse went from overworking to saving 1 to 2 hours of 1 to 2 hours or 1 to 2 hours of work a day, and half or free Fridays. And also, even though he has 5-6 employees, I don't know exactly how many, his drive is also time with family. He's doing well. I don't know if he's a millionaire, doesn't matter. Yule was a tourist guide and struggling to pay bills, and then went to play with best DJs in the world in the biggest super club in the world in span of months. You see, his drive is also not money. His drive is connection with his tribe. You see, when you do what you love to do, let's go back here just quickly, then you are in a flow and money follows. If you want more money, no problem, right? So money is not a problem at all. But when you chase your own dream and there's no resistance and you have leverage, then money just comes, if that's what you want. So if you have built real success, but you keep on hitting the ceiling, or you're feeling overworked, overwhelmed, or simply stuck at 80%, then this is for you. I'm opening up a handful of roadmap calls this week for high achievers who know this is not about tactics anymore, and you simply want more than just money. You want control, fulfillment, and you feel like you're finally operating at your true level. So when you book, you'll get instant access to Unstuck AI diagnostics. So in just a few minutes, it will pinpoint your core block. So when you come on a call, we can dive in straight into the solutions. So on this 30-minute call, I'll pinpoint your bottleneck, your hidden patterns, your survival mode wiring, and blind spots that keep you snapping back. So you'll leave with custom roadmap, a clear actionable plan you can use right away to break the cycle and move your true capacity. So no theory, no fluff, just the truth about what's holding you back and how to break through. So most people will keep spinning their wheels and few will do what it takes. So if you are ready to operate at 100% and reclaim your time, then hit the button below. And please remember, spots are limited because this is me and you doing the work one-on-one. Thank you so much for watching this video and hopefully see you on the roadmap call. Thank you. Bye-bye.